What's up, guys? And Chris from Mainely Mesh. Today it's Field Friday, and we're going to be opening up our next kind of sequence of videos, which talks about initially dodging from X and then later on defending from X. So today we're going to start with the most basic and still one of the most effective dodges from X, which is the roll dodge from X. We're going to talk a little bit about where to place it, how many steps you need to take, what you're racing to as a point, and kind of the do's and don'ts of rolling from X. Sound good?
Right on, man.
Let's do it. So, when we're talking about dodging from X, get out of there. God.
Noob.
Newbies, right? So, we're talking about dodging from X. It's easy to become focused on this point at the back of the neck. After all, I mean, that is where the definition of X comes from, is that if you drew an imaginary line from each side of the goal, it would make this large X in which the attackman typically stands. Fun fact. That's why they call it X. So, Fun Fact Friday. So when we're dodging, it's very easy to simply make all of your dodges happen right at this spot, but that actually makes it a little easier for a defender to defend, and we'll explain why. We've set up these two cones because these are actually the hot spots when it comes to dodging from X. These are the points where the attackman needs to get to. So we're just going to set up a hypothetical situation where we're running in from an angle. We're going to show you where to roll and where not to roll, and go from there. All right, Derek, get back here. I kind of blew that one. First, we're going to talk about what the defender's goal is. The defender's goal is all predicated upon getting to GLE and turning me back, always. Because as an attackman, I can't score from behind the net. Because we're not playing box lacrosse, I'm not banking it off the goalie. It's a 6x6. I'm not Gary Gate. They've messed up the diving rules, so I'm not effective when I'm at X, when I'm behind the net. I am effective when I get above GLE, so Sam's job at GLE as a defender is to square up his hips at GLE and push me down. What this means is that if we are taking a dodge, and I'm imagining I'm going on a straight line, these cones are my goals, but Sam's goal, if I'm sprinting and I have a half step on him and Sam thinks I'm going up to that corner, Sam's goal is to get to GLE before I do. So especially at your younger levels, when these kids are just getting coached, you know, the upper middle school into high school levels, you're going to see a lot of your defenders, if you're starting an angular dodge like this, they're going to turn their head and they're going to be trying to sprint to GLE. The biggest mistake people make, like I've said, is dodging right on this point of the net. So if I'm coming and Sam's turned his hips, and I have a half a step on him, and I plant my foot here, Sam is a half a step behind me, and so when I roll, he's actually in an incredible position to get me out and push me away so that I have to restart my dodge. Just like, as you can imagine, if you rolled too early and I rolled here, I'd be rolling right back into Sam. I'm going nowhere. So my goal as an attackman is actually to race to one step further than this point, this bisecting line of the point of the net.
Why do we do that, Chris?
Why do we do that? We do that because if I can beat Sam, since Sam is a half a step behind me, if I can beat Sam to one step past GLE, you will notice Sam has now had to cross the net. And if you see, his hips are broken, he's caught up in the net. This is where you see those incredible dodges where Lyle Thompson loses his defender behind the net, old Mikey Powell stuff. We want to use the net as our friend. The net is our best friend and our biggest ally in dodging from X. So, bad defender, his goal is to get to GLE before me. If I race him to one step beyond and he's crossed his hips, that is gold. That is money. Now I roll. Sam has to twist his body a whole 270 degrees. Sometimes you see defenders even bail out to the whole other side. And now I'm sprinting clear through. Or if he does come back to my side and he's broken his hips like that, I roll. I'm going to have at least 1 to 2 steps if he tries to rotate back, at which point I can go around and attempt to score. Pause for UPS. What can Brown do for you? You can interrupt my video, Brown. So, the second mistake people make is they get so excited that they're running full speed and then they want to throw a roll at GLE. That's probably the worst time to throw a roll because that's when your defender is taught to completely square up his hips and push you back. And they're taught that from a very young age. So a lot of times you're just expending unnecessary energy trying to roll from there. So before I even dodge, if I'm just trying to beat Sam to GLE, Sam can take a shorter path through the crease. Now, when I reach GLE, Sam is taught to square up his hips, and so Sam is taught to literally be parallel with this line. So if I roll now, Sam's right there with me because he's been taught to square up his hips, complete me. The goalie's going to be yelling, pipe, pipe, which means you're at GLE, you need to push him back down because now I'm dangerous. I've become dangerous when I've entered this GLE area. So sprinting and rolling here, and then rolling back, sprinting the whole length where Sam is taking this shorter path, coming up all the way to the opposite GLE, and then rolling back is a huge unnecessary expenditure of energy. So what we really want to focus on in summation are these points, these 2 spots, 1 step past this center line of the X. Another little thing is you actually don't want them to be too close to the crease because if they're too close to the crease and you pull a tight roll, you're going to end up in the crease. So I like having them a foot or 2 behind, getting to that spot, tangling up your defender in the net, rolling, and once you commit to going above GLE, you're gone, and your next set of moves comes at 5 and 5, which we'll talk about in some subsequent video. I think that's all for now.
Totally.
It's always a pain trying to dodge against a 6'6" defender. So we're going to go work on our high-speed shots. I'm going to roast Sam a little. Hopefully they've already been sprinkled through the video, through some editing. But thanks so much for this week's Field Friday. We're going to keep this conversation going next Friday. Catch you guys next time.
Next time.
Hey.